Hello, everybody. This week on Makeup and Murder Monday, we have a very sad story, and it is a Veterans Day story, and it is about some tragedies that have happened to veterans at Fort Hood just in this year of 2020. Hello, everybody. With it being Veterans Day week, Veterans Day being Wednesday, I wanted to share a story about some veterans and about how their Army base is just not taking good care of them. It's a tragedy because I have a real love for those who have served and those who are serving. It is just something that I feel like we should all respect and honor. And so for this Veterans Day edition of Makeup and Murder Monday, we're going to be talking about Fort Hood and some of the awful things that have been going on there during just this year. So we are only how many months into the year are we? 11 months into the year. So these are all just things that have happened in the first 9 months of the year. So we're 11 months in, but these things have happened within the first 9 months. So since the beginning of 2020, 12 soldiers have gone missing and or been murdered at Fort Hood. We're going to go through each one of those. First, we have Sergeant Elder Fernandez. 23, was last seen on August 17th at a civilian home in Texas. Army officials reported that, and this is from a KIRO7 news article about the case, and I'll link that as well. Army officials confirmed that he had been an alleged victim of abusive sexual contact at work. And he did not report to work the next day. So that officially puts him not on a missing persons list per se, but it puts him on an AWOL list, which is interesting because if you go AWOL in the military, they do not look for you. They do not ask for police assistance in searching for you. They do not look for you at all. It is considered that you are just trying to get out of your duties, and so you are considered AWOL, and you eventually get dishonorably discharged, and all of your benefits are null and void. So it's not like they go, oh, he must be missing. They think, oh, he must be AWOL. So he didn't report to work. His only known vehicle was still on the police lot. And it does say that foul play was not suspected at first, but they did find a body found hanging from a tree near railroad tracks that they believe was his. They do believe it was a suicide. So there is that. They kind of confirmed that it was a suicide. So next we have Cole Jacob Aton. Aton was 22. He was from Kentucky. He was killed August 12th as he was helping at the scene of a major crash. So he was struck by a vehicle in the roadway. So this is just a tragedy. Again, this isn't foul play. This is just a tragic accident. A lot of soldiers to lose, though, from one base. He was struck by a driver who just didn't see him, and no charges were filed. It was totally an accident. Then we have Francisco Gilberto Hernandez Vargas, and he was 24, and he drowned on August 2nd in a boating accident. He went under as he was being pulled by an inner tube on a motor boat. He was a rifleman, and they do believe this was also just a tragic accident, okay? These were all things that happened in August, and yes, they do seem like they were very tragic accidents. On July 17th of this year, Private Maynor Morta from Florida was found dead at the lake. Authorities believe that it was also an accident, another drowning. But they're still investigating that particular case. He was 26. Then we have Vanessa Guillen, and I'm sure you've heard about her. Her disappearance and death has made like a really huge news. National headlines all over the place, and prompted, a lot of investigations of sexual harassment at Fort Hood. She vanished April 22nd. Again, when she vanished, she was last seen like in a parking lot, was the last thing that they saw her. Her car keys, all of her identification, and her wallet were later found in the armory room on base. Her family had hired an attorney recently to discuss some sexual harassment that she had been ongoing, that she had been receiving. They said in a news conference that investigators weren't able to corroborate those claims, but there was evidence that at least she was filing some sort of motion about it. It turned out that she was found on June 30th, her remains, about 30 miles from the base. They were dismembered and she was put in concrete. Hours after the discovery, they found who did it. It was a man specialist, Aaron David Robertson, but he and his girlfriend also had helped him dismember. His girlfriend, however, was married, so she was helping him to keep it all quiet that they were dating. I don't know why they chose to do this. I believe they couldn't find any real actual motive except for the fact that there had been some harassment issues going on, and so I think that he thought he was going to be implicated. So Aaron David Robertson was found, and he was found dead. He killed himself because he was arrested, and then he escaped while he was arrested. While he was in police custody, he escaped out the back door into the night, and later when they found him, he was dead with a self-inflicted gunshot wound. His girlfriend, who happened to be married to somebody else, was charged with conspiracy and tampering with evidence. She claims that they used a machete and an axe to cut up the body. They burned her remains and then buried her under cement. She ordered the cement off of Amazon as well, so that wasn't good for her. Next, we have Gregory Weedle Morales. He was reported missing August 20th, and that he was a 23-year-old who was days away from being discharged in the Army, and was was missing after a night out with friends. They found his skeletal remains about 4 miles from base. His death is investigated as a homicide. They believe he was shot in the face. So he had been critical of Army officials in the past for I'm not exactly sure what, but he had been critical of them. So when he disappeared, he was just considered a deserter, and nobody went to look for him at all. And in fact, they took away all of his benefits for his family as well. And then it was found that a tip came in and they found his skeletal remains, and it was a homicide. So next we have Brandon Scott Rosencrans. Rosencrans is 27 of Missouri. He was found slain May 18th on the side of the road in Harker Heights, Texas. He was shot 4 times. The officials called and said that they found a body. Somebody called and said they found a body. Minutes later, people were calling saying there was a burning Jeep, and they went to it and it was his Jeep, but it was 4 miles away. So obviously that is suspicious. Two people were charged or were arrested in that particular case. Next up, sadly, we have Michael Stephen Wardrobe. He was 22. He was shot and killed March 23rd. Got into a fight with another soldier and was killed. So that is also tragic. We have a specialist, Freddie Benigno de la Cruz Jr. He was 23. He was a victim of a triple homicide on March 14th. Him and his girlfriend, who was pregnant, were killed, as well as another person. And then we have specialist Christopher Wayne Sawyer, age 29. He was found dead March 5th on his home at the base. They say foul play was not suspected, but they're still investigating it as such. Specialist Shelby Tyler Jones was 20 from Louisiana and was found suffering a gunshot wound 3 a.m. March 1st at a convenience store. They do not know. They believe that Jones was shot at Club Dreams, which is a strip club that was a half a mile away, but they're not sure how he got there. Then we have Private Eric Christopher Hogan and Private First Class Anthony Neville Peak Jr. Hogan was 19, Peak was 21, and they died February 1st from a car accident. And it is just tragic. There's just a lot of soldiers there that there's a lot of trauma and tragedy going on. Some of them are just accidents. Some of them are homicides. They're suicides. And I just think we need to really take care of our soldiers much better than we do. So that is my thought on that. In doing some research, because charities change all the time, and some charities provide a lot of money for things that aren't going to help people. After doing a bunch of research, I found that Hope for Warriors is a charity that is super highly rated, and that gives 87.15% of all of its money directly to the cause, with only a few people that they hire to help. Their transparency and accountability score is 100%. So I'm going to also link to that Hope for Warriors, and perhaps you feel inclined in this Veterans Day week to donate to a charity. Thank you for listening to this week's really sad story about the soldiers at Fort Hood. I hope that you have a fantastic week. Stay beautiful, and think of some ideas of things that I can do for next week. Any local stories are the best. Those are the ones I really want to cover. So let me know.